Human beings are hardwired to move toward the light. Consciously, we spend our lives chasing health, happiness, and personal growth. We want to thrive. Yet our daily reality often looks very different. We deal with chronic anxiety, persistent physical ailments, and relationships that inexplicably fall apart. When faced with this persistent friction, our default reflex is to look outward. We conclude that the universe is unfair, and we are simply unlucky targets in a hostile world. The teachings in Fear No Evil frame this suffering as a mathematical consequence of our internal geometry. Pain functions as a calculable output of a mechanism operating entirely inside of us. While our conscious mind pursues growth, a deeply submerged, unconscious part of our personality pulls toward non-health. This hidden counter-wish creates a field of active resistance against our own goals. Pain, therefore, is simply the friction generated at the exact point where these two opposing psychological currents violently collide. Chapter 15 uncovers a central paradox. Our self-sabotaging fragments are actually driven by a distorted search for joy. The deepest spiritual core of human nature moves in a purely positive direction. By definition, this core cannot desire its own destruction. That would defy its basic operating logic. The conflict starts when a fractured, isolated part of the personality breaks away from that core. This fragment sets up a secondary current that actively pushes against our natural outward growth. Both forces, the healthy and the fractured, answer to the same master, the pleasure principle. This is the psychological theory that all human actions are motivated by the desire to seek immediate gratification and avoid suffering. You can see this clearly in our relationships. We might start with an objective understanding of a friend's toxic traits, but that detachment quickly twists into a smug, self-righteous satisfaction. We find ourselves secretly indulging in their wrongness. We sacrifice genuine interpersonal harmony to secure a precarious, distorted thrill. The text defines this destructive gratification as negative pleasure. If pure, healthy joy is available to us, why would the human mind ever choose a toxic, precarious substitute? The answer lies in a psychological block known as the fear of pleasure. Over years of rationalizations and small self-deceptions, we compromise our own internal integrity. Once that happens, the prospect of experiencing pure, total pleasure feels terrifying. To a fragile, fractured ego, genuine joy threatens to dissolve its boundaries. Terrified of that pure light, the mind constructs a psychic sphere. This is a self-perpetuating cage of cynical attitudes, grievances, and distorted thoughts designed to block out our own vitality. We unconsciously lock ourselves in this dark enclosure because for a compromised psyche, negative pleasure feels like the only safe way to experience a modicum of reward. Our stubborn refusal to acknowledge this inner mechanism keeps us anchored in suffering. We spend our lives swinging blindly at the negative situations around us, unaware that our own hidden desires are the immediate cause. This blind struggle only feeds and hardens the cycle. Breaking the loop requires the difficult work of radical self-honesty. We must actively spot and admit to our own secret indulgence in the thrill of negativity. Bringing this unconscious desire into the light begins to erode the conflict's power. It becomes increasingly difficult for the ego to maintain the struggle once its hidden motives are exposed. We dismantle the psychic sphere through the deliberate, ongoing choice to stop the fight against an invisible external enemy. This act of acceptance helps soften the hardened edges of our self-sabotage. A moment of wonder. As we consistently withdraw our focus from that destructive thrill, we free up life energy. This allows the energy to eventually return to its original, constructive form, radiating through our personality without obstruction. Lasting peace requires us to outgrow the precarious thrill of our own sabotage. Only by aligning our entire personality back toward the light do we finally exhaust the source of our pain.